The Gauteng High Court in Johannesburg has postponed former President Jacob Zuma's private prosecution case against his successor, President Cyril Ramaphosa, to the 6th of February next year. Beg your pardon. This to allow appeal processes before Constitutional Court to be concluded. However, Zuma is still supposed to appear before the court in his capacity as private prosecutor to ensure that his matter remains on the criminal court. When Zuma appears again in February next year, he will be expected to furnish the court with details regarding the appeal process. Zuma is accusing Ramaphosa of being an accessory after the fact, after he lodged a complaint to Ramaphosa alleging that prosecutor Billy Downer, senior counsel, leaked his medical records during his corruption trial in the KwaZulu-Natal division of the High Court in Pietermaritzburg in contravention of the National Prosecuting Authority.
By your brother, Mr. Justice Mann.
For more on the story, I am joined by my colleague and SABC reporter, Canny Maphanga. Kenny, thank you so much for joining us. Take us through what happened in court and maybe just a little bit of reminding our viewers of how we got to this case.
Well, you may remember around Nasrec when the former president brought this private prosecution bid against his successor that was ahead of that contestation and accused him of being an alleged accessory after the fact and the alleged disclosure of his health records before the Gauteng High Court in Pietermaritzburg.
Okay.
So all three parties in the matter have successfully invalidated that private prosecution. Now, we know that the former president is currently in an appeals process with the current president, Cyril Ramaphosa, and it's now at the Constitutional Court, and they're awaiting an outcome on that.
Okay.
Now, because the criminal court works differently, he has to keep up appearances even though he's given a date, and we know that it's invalidated, and that the president actually doesn't have to appear in the criminal dock. He has to keep up those appearances in his capacity, rather, as a private prosecutor. Because failure to do so would mean that Section 11 of the Criminal Procedure Act will kick in, and that matter would be dismissed. And of course, it would be the end of that. So the former president is ensuring that he keeps up those appearances in order to get those dates. When he came this morning, he explained through his counsel that the appeals process is still ongoing. They're hoping to finalize it at least by the end of the year, and that the legal team is requesting a long postponement in order to get to the business of the day. So the court did grant that long postponement, that is to February 2025, and then we can expect by then we would have had a conclusion in the appeals process or finalization in the appeals process. So it means that if he's not successful in appeals, then of course he can't continue with that private prosecution.
He was due to have a press briefing later on after the break. Did it happen? And what did he say?
Usually when these court appearances happen, a lot of MK party supporters, because he leads that political party that is now the third biggest political party in the country, they show up in their numbers to support whatever appearance is happening, whether they're in court, whether they're in the civil court or whether they're in the criminal court. However, he did leave the court straight away. Even though the crowds were there, he didn't address the supporters. We anticipated that there was going to be some sort of an address because there was a stage that was set up. However, he did leave immediately after that court appearance, and we hear reporting on the details of what happened inside the court, but of course it wasn't the usual routine that you see from the MK party and its supporters, where there's usually some kind of an address that takes place after.
They must have been disappointed themselves, so expecting their leader to address them.
Yeah, I'm sure they were, because they showed up in their numbers to hear something from the former president following that brief court appearance. But I'm sure there'll be many instances where they'll be able to engage with the leader of the MK party.
So from here on, it's the 6th of Feb, 2025.
Absolutely. And by then, one would hope that the appeals process or the civil aspect of this issue is finalized by then.
All right, Canny Maphanga. She is with the SABC and she's been giving us an update on that court case. Thank you so much for your time.